and welcome to the latest episode of the ReWine, where we rewind the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. There is so much going on this in the news. Tammy, I thought the last couple of weeks would be kind of quiet, and they started off kind of quiet, but it's just been a lot going on here lately. Um, but how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good.
That's good.
Chilling, enjoying the last few days of summer.
Oh gosh, I know. Okay, I'm a little sleep deprived and a little tired at the same time, so I'm kind of loopy. Just giving you a heads up. There's no telling where this is going to go today. But let's get started. So, um, before we get started, I want to send a big ass shout out to Rihanna, who has recently joined the Billionaires Club. She is the first female artist to do so. And most of that has come off of her Fenty makeup brand and her clothing line and her underwear or her lingerie line. Let's call it lingerie. When you pay that much money for it, it's not underwear, it's lingerie. You got to get fancy with it. And, that's good. She hasn't made music in like 5 years. She hasn't released a new album, but I'm waiting for her to make her music come back. Rihanna, please, the music gods. So that's a big shout out. Are you a Rihanna fan?
No, I mean, I listen to her music, but to actually call myself a fan, no. Some of her songs are really good to me, and then some of her songs are like forgettable. But I like her overall. I'm just not necessarily a fan of hers.
Yeah, her last album, Anti, however you want to pronounce it, was by far her best. And I was just like, oh, so me and everybody else are waiting for a follow-up to that album. Also, shout out to Reese Witherspoon, who also got a big bag. She sold her production / lifestyle company, Hello Sunshine, for $900 million. So if that on top of whatever else her net worth was before then, she's definitely on her way to the Billionaires Club. So I'm not mad. And Angela Bassett, do you watch 911 on Fox?
I do not.
I watch 911 Lone Star, the one with Rob Lowe, but I don't watch the original one. Well, Angela Bassett is the star, the female lead of 911, and she just signed. The whole cast got a pay increase, and she's getting, I think, $450,000 per episode, which makes her one of the highest paid TV actresses or actresses on TV right now. And also one of the highest paid actresses of color for TV ever. So shout out to her. I'm not mad at any of those women for getting the bag, taking the money, so big ups to all of them. I know you like to shop. I hope I'm not putting you on blast, but Square bought Afterpay, and we went somewhere and you're like, oh, that's what you're talking about. But Square is basically the mobile, I guess, payment system. And it's owned by Jack Dorsey, who created or owns Twitter or whatever. Can you own Twitter?
No, you created it?
Okay, yeah, he created Twitter. But anyway, they bought Afterpay, which is basically a installment. How would you describe Afterpay?
It's an installment program.
Yeah, it's an installment program. So, and I guess the big question, since they bought Afterpay, for $29 billion in all stocks, is will you be able to actually use Afterpay in the stores now, like in person, rather than just something online, which would be kind of cool if you could, if that would be an option. So we'll see how that works out. And, Andrew Cuomo is in big poo. We knew a while back that he had been accused of sexual harassment, and the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, she did her investigation, or there was an independent investigation, and they found that he actually had done what he'd been accused of doing, and there are calls all around for him to resign. And of course, he has said, no, he's not going to resign. So I guess the next step is impeachment, plus the probe is expanding into criminal charges now. The probe or the investigation was mostly civil, but now they're looking into criminal charges. So you're from New Jersey. You're from that area, from New York.
I'm from New Jersey.
I was trying to
We,
give you. I was trying to give you some.
we have our own governor, Uncle Phil, and yeah. So Cuomo is not in my family. So yeah, I don't know about that.
That's bad when the swamp people won't even claim you. Like, we don't want any parts of that.
I've never claimed New York. Like, no, I'm from Jersey. I don't even say like, oh, like I'm like 20 minutes. No, like people ask like, where you from? I'm from New Jersey. Like, I'm very proud of the fact I'm from Jersey because it's better than being from where I currently live.
Hey. You've lived here long enough to call yourself a Texan. That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely not.
That's all I'm going to say. Once you've been here for a certain amount of time, you're a Texan by proxy.
Never. That's the reason why I never get a Texas phone number. I'm going to keep my Jersey number for life.
Do you have a Texas driver's license?
Well, yeah, because I don't want to get pulled over with a Jersey license. It's expired.
Okay, so you're a Texan.
No, I am not.
But anyway, as the thing with Cuomo deepens, we will see. But I think, like I told you, we always say fuck around, find out. If fuck around and find out were a person, her name would be Letitia James. She is one badass. The New York State Attorney General. Do not fuck around with her. If she comes after you, you better make sure that you are cleaner than a whistle and you have all your ducks in a row. You might as well just try to cop a plea, because if there's some dirt, she is going to find it. And so, shout out to Miss James. And we'll see what happens with Andrew Cuomo. It's just getting worse instead of better. So I guess, and have you ever seen the movie Birth of a Nation?
Yes.
The original, not the one with Nate Turner.
Don't do that.
What?
Don't do that. I've seen the original.
Oh, okay. Well, some people get them confused.
I was a TV production major when I was in college. We had to watch Birth of a Nation.
God help us all, for whoever. Did you like it? Let me ask that question.
I'm going to ignore that question.
I have to do my due diligence. The audience want to know. Damn it, there you go. The pop heads. No, that's not gonna work. The people want to know. Did you like it?
I'm going to ignore that question for a second time.
I'm just going to. Can I safely assume that means no?
Sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, it premiered like 100 years ago. What, 1919? Anyway, it's a horrible movie. It's an extremely racist movie for those who've never seen it. But there are these statues, these famous statues on the corner of Highland and Hollywood, and they were elephants, and they were there to signify the premiere of Birth of a Nation, and they're finally coming down. So I guess that's like Hollywood's version of the Confederate statue. Or Confederate statues, they're finally removing those statues. So, and Rona is getting worse, not better, because of the Delta variant. Cases are actually in a lot of places in the South, especially here in your lovely adopted home state of Texas. Cases are rising and getting worse, and more people are starting to issue Rona mandates. And we talked about this a little bit last week, and you said you were all for it, right? If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to misquote you.
For what?
The Rona mandates, like making sure mask mandates.
Oh, people having to get mask mandates. Don't call it the Rona mandates.
Okay. Well, Well, mask mandates and vaccine mandates. Are you for those too?
Why are we putting my business out there, Eddie?
You said it. You said it the last time we talked. I'm just asking. Okay.
Are you for those, Eddie?
Gosh, I have a mixed opinion about it. I think that it's well within businesses' rights, especially if we're going to get this thing under control, to ensure the safety of their customers, and it's a public health issue. So on a certain level, I am, and then on another level, forcing people to. It's a mixed bag for me. I guess it's the easiest way to explain it. Um, but the reason why I ask is because schools are instituting mask mandates, but places like Netflix, CBS, CNN, the NFL, they are all requiring people to. Well, the NFL is not requiring to get vaccinated, but they're highly, highly, highly suggesting it. But Netflix is requiring that the cast and crew on a lot of their productions get vaccinated. Chicago Med is said that their entire cast in the Zone A, which would be like the people who are on set with the cast most often, they also have to get vaccinated. So let me ask, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's right? Do you think that's fair? Do you think that they should?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, that was very simple, short and sweet. I take it that means move on. See, I listen. Okay. And Chris Wu, we talked about him last week, our last episode. He has been detained by China. I still want to know who the hell he pissed off in China. Like, I really, really want to know. Not saying that he doesn't deserve what's happening based on the evidence, but this is just really rare, especially for China. I want to know who he pissed off. And I know you've heard. How often do you bathe?
Oh. Oh. If nothing else will wake me up, it will be the question of how often do I bathe?
Better than coffee. Well, I got the boring stuff out the way first.
I bathe more than Ashton Kutcher and Mila.
How you know?
Woo! Because obviously they only bathe when they see dirt.
Dude, that took me out. And when I saw that, the reactions to it took
Let's
me
just say
out.
that's nasty. You're nasty.
Yeah, and it's been a thing. And what started off, I guess, as a story they told on Dak Shepard's podcast has turned into this whole big thing about how often they bathe and how often they bathe their kids, and they don't bathe very often. Ashton said that he only washes his bits and pits. um, he'll throw some soap and water. So basically, I love the way Jamel Hill put it. She's like, he just told the world that he takes these whole baths.
He don't even take cowboy baths.
No, he just washes his pit, his crotch and his armpits. And then they said they only bathe their kids when they see dirt. And I'm like, well, gosh, and if your kids are outside every day, and the more I think about it, the nastier that is. But and it's funny in a sense. We make fun of it, but Jamel Hill, I'm a big fan. She said something. She put it in a context that I think a lot of people understand, because it after it became funny, you start doing it. People start doing these think pieces on it and all this other stuff. But in the context of culture, it was like because for so long, Black people and people of color have been stereotyped to just be dirty. Like, we weren't allowed into the same pool because our dirt was going to rub off, or, we couldn't drink from the same fountain. So we always were raised, especially our parents and our grandparents and the older generations were raised to where we had to go out in public clean and presentable, where we couldn't go out, smelling and all of that kind of stuff, because it was thought we didn't want to fall into that stereotype, I guess, is the easiest way to paraphrase all of that. So, but yeah, that
But
story.
no, because
Go ahead.
so if we're going back in history, because that's just our thing. White Europeans didn't bathe very regularly. They just spritzed a whole bunch of perfume on themselves. And then after a while, they couldn't actually smell the fact that they smelled disgusting, musty, and nasty for centuries. Who taught them that they should have regular baths? The Moors. Black people, y'all, from Africa, taught white Europeans that they should bathe more often because they found it to be savagery when they first was introduced to it on actually bathing on a regular basis. And this is even the rich who could afford the water to bathe themselves every single day didn't do it. So I would say it goes all the way back to the fact we've always been more hygienic if we're looking at historical facts than white Europeans. I wasn't surprised. I actually was not surprised. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why would you tell people that? Like, why would you tell people that you don't bathe and you don't bathe your kids? Keep that to yourself. We don't need to know all that. Because now you're being made fun of. And now your kids, people are going to talk about your kids for life. That's out there. Your kids ain't never going to get away from this. On the fact that when they were growing up, they barely bathed. And people are going to question them all the time, like, do you bathe now that you're an adult? Like, just wait. It's coming.
Well, you got these hippie doctors who talk about, oh, well, you shouldn't bathe every day because you're stripping your skin of natural oils and and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, really, dude? That's just, and then you have some people say, well, I only bathe when I start to stink or I only
Is
bathe
these
my
the same
kids.
people that told women that they don't have to bathe their vajayjays because it naturally, like, flushes out the toxins?
Probably. But yeah, so it on the surface it's a funny story, but when you just get into it, like you said, the historical aspects of it and especially the culture of it, it's
It's
just like
nasty.
it's nasty. And then it takes it to a whole deeper thing just about hygiene. And one of my favorite like I said, I'm with you. I think the shock came in and is that, okay, you actually put that out there in the world. But so, and sometimes I'll do it, and just depending on what the story is, sometimes I won't. So I went and I read the Twitter comments, and I mostly go and read the comments on the ones that I know or I think are going to be funny. I'm not really into all that hate crap. But one of the funniest comments I read is, that's why I don't, what they said that that's why they don't partake in the office potluck, because of the hygiene disparities.
They don't partake in the what?
In the office potluck, they don't eat everybody's food.
Look,
because of the hygiene disparities.
I used to think it was just because, not everybody seasons their food the same. But now I got to put in, not everybody bathes the same. Like, yeah. I'm sorry that I falsely assumed that everybody bathes on a regular. My bad, y'all.
Some people go with those natural seasonings. But yeah, and again, and especially with this being in the middle of a fucking pandemic, it seems like we would be more in tune with hygiene. But I guess, when you hear about the numbers of hand washing being down since last year, and I'm just like, really, you've stopped washing your hands? So you're the person that's gone back to going to a public bathroom and just walking out without washing your hands.
It's just nasty.
Exactly. So if you don't wash your hands there, it kind of makes me think, are you washing your hands at home? And yeah, so I don't partake in that office potluck either because of hygiene disparities. Very rarely. Yeah. But so On from that, the Olympics have started. They're almost over, as a matter of fact. The last episode, they were just beginning. In this episode, they will be ending. And the one of the biggest stories, there's a lot that's happened, but the one thing was Simone Biles. She sat out for most of the Olympics or the gymnastics competition, um, citing she was protecting her mental health. Um, what did you think about that? And she took a lot of flack from it, of course, coming from the whole we know
She
who.
took a lot of slack, but she also got way more support. I think, like, we'll concentrate on the ones who, really tried to make her feel some type of way about her taking care of herself mentally as well as physically. But I think she got way more support after people saw what happened with Naomi Osaka. So I think people have started to really wrap their mind around the fact of everybody should make sure that they're 100% mentally prepared for whatever they're going into. So yeah, I think she got way more support than people are letting on to, like she did, because we concentrate on the loudmouths who are being like all out there rather than the ones who are just like, no, she's good. Like, we support her. Like, she's doing what's best for herself. So
Yeah, I agree. And and it seems like the commentators, they were I've been watching the Olympics. I know you really have not been. But they were starting to go in on her until Michael Phelps co-signed and it's like, yeah. And I'm like, why does it take him to co-sign on what she's doing for you to back off? And then I was watching one, um, it was a headline, a swimmer, right when this happened, Katie Ledecky. I think her first two races, she didn't do as well as people thought she would do. She still medaled or something, but I guess they were expecting her to get gold or whatever. So the next race, when she comes back and she gets a gold, um, and it was at the height of all of this, one commentator was like, yeah, and that is how you come back from adversity. That is how you persevere. And it's just like you could hear the shade just coming through the comment. And I was like, what the? So I agree. She did get a lot more support than I thought she would. But the hate was still out there, and I'm proud of her for doing that. And also, the one event that she did ultimately compete in was the balance beam, and she took home the bronze. And she said that bronze meant more to her than any of the other than the golds that she won because of all she persevered and had to go through to get it. And she also brought in ratings gold because you are not the only one who has not been watching the Olympics. The ratings have stunk up the place for the Olympics. But the night that she won the bronze, that was like the highest night ratings wise. So she still brings in the gold. She still brings in the ratings and ratings gold. And there's this other stupid think piece about, oh, well, she may not be as marketable now by, and I'm like, really? So it just,
well, I mean,
go ahead.
like, it's because it was the only competition that she actually participated in. So people wanted to see if she was going to end up the way that she did when she was practicing for the vault, or was she actually going to medal. So I think that's one reason why people watched more, because they either wanted to see her fail or they wanted to see her, like, succeed and, push. So I like, it was kind of like a gimmick, right? So it's on all the controversy that happened. It's not, I don't think we can say that, the reason why is because it was more like she's Simone Biles, rather than the fact of everything that had happened beforehand. And now people want to see, like, what is she going to do? Not necessarily that, it was her who brought in the crowd, but everything that led up to her doing the balance beam is what brought in the crowd, where people wanting to see what she could do after, she didn't participate in the other events that she was supposed to when she went to Tokyo. Is where I would say is more where the ratings came in than it just being because it's Simone Biles.
Well, they still watched, and ultimately, it was, they tuned in for her, whether it was to see her fail, see her succeed. The rating still correlated with her performing that night. And if she hadn't been performing, then because the next night, um, they tanked. They went back down into
But
the
you can't.
toilet. So
But so you don't think it's because of the whole controversy of her now participating in the in the other events, and then her finally participating in the Bally's Beam event?
yeah, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I agree, but ultimately, they still, whether or not no. What I'm saying is, regardless of why they tuned in, the controversy or not, as we know, controversy sells. So, regardless of why they tuned in, they still tuned in to see her. So, um, that happens to be one of their biggest nights, for most watched nights for the Olympics. So, um, and it still correlates with her. So however they want to parse that up, I don't necessarily think it's going to affect her marketing abilities either, though. Like you said, she got a lot more support than she got hate, or the support finally drowned out all of the hate. You still have the haters out there, you still have the loudmouths, but you also have people speaking up, um, more loudly or louder, in support of her. So I don't. I think that for once, positivity hopefully will win out. So I would be interested to see how it does affect her marketing, but I doubt that it will. Um, at least not in an adverse way. Um, Goodness. Oh, the U.S. women's soccer team, they won the bronze medal, in soccer. So congratulations, big shout out to them. Again, the America First crowd, was hating and hoping that they lose. They lost, and saying that they weren't great representatives of America. So, um, gotta love that hypocrisy there. Um, but have you? I know you haven't been watching the Olympics, but have you seen Snoop Dogg and, Kevin Hart?
No,
You have not seen them,
no,
analyze the Olympics?
nope.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny, especially the one with the horses and the equestrian crip walk. You've got to watch it. I'm going to send you that clip.
Please don't.
I was waiting for that. That's what that pause was for. I was like, is she
I
gonna say
know.
no? Is she
Please
gonna
don't.
say
Please
please
don't.
don't? Is she gonna? But I am.
That'll be the one thing I just completely ignore and do not watch because I refuse.
It's
Refuse.
so funny. Like, it is funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so, that's what's up on the Olympics. I'm still waiting. Oh, and then the men's relay team sucked ass, and Carl Lewis went in, like, the 4x1. Yeah, it was really
What do you mean
sad.
they sucked ass?
Like, they didn't even make it to the semifinals. They lost. They placed sixth in a heat because of horrible handoffs.
What about the
Um,
women?
the women, we are going on. We made it to the semifinals, so, they looked pretty good. I'm excited about that. Sydney McLaughlin, she kicked ass, set a world record. She's 21 years old, and she set a world record in the 400-meter hurdles. And the 400-meter hurdles is the toughest race in track. You have to run around the track once on hurdles, jumping hurdles. That's the hardest race ever. But she made it look so easy. So, um, and the Jamaicans, they basically owned the 100 and the 200, and it was bittersweet watching the 100 because I really want to see what Shakari could have done against, I think her name is Shira from Jamaica, who's back to back Olympic champion. So,
Yo, so I'm gonna say this, right? And
uh-huh.
y'all can hate on me if you want. But yeah, I feel like Shakari would have done a great job, right? But ain't nobody touching the Jamaicans. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay, well,
Didn't they sweep for the men?
they swept for the women in the 100, 1, 2, 3.
They swept for the men in one of those races.
I have to go back and see. Honestly, I haven't really been paying too much attention to the men's track. Again, go back to
And
what I
that's and that is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. But yeah, like I mean, y'all, I know, y'all gonna try to come for me for this, but Ain't nobody touching the Jamaicans. Stop it. Stop it.
Okay. Well, you know what? We'll have this. We'll revisit this conversation again next summer when we get to the Worlds. And it seems weird, but we have to
Wait,
remember that.
did you say the Worlds?
Yeah.
Is the Worlds the Olympics?
It's just as important. It's
Is
a
it?
primer.
No, it's not.
It's just as important.
No, it's not.
It is too.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna see, and we have to remember that it all seems to be coming up so fast because this is an off-year Olympics. Like they keep calling this the Olympics 20, like Tokyo 20. I'm like, technically it's 2021, but okay, we're just a year off of the Olympics, so we'll see what happens. Getting ready for the Paris Olympics in 3 years. Oh, and the little she's 14 years old. She is a diver from China. She got two perfect scores in 2 rounds. It was amazing. And I watched her and I was like, oh shit. I was even rooting for her. That girl's bad. Like her name is Kwan. Don't ask me to pronounce the rest of it. I'm just gonna call her Kwan. But she actually signed up to go work and joined the Chinese national team so young because her mom is sick and she wanted to help pay for her mom's treatments and stuff like that. So it was a really touching story, but that little girl's bad. In a good way. So moving on from the Olympics, and we will revisit our track conversation next year.
Are you trying to say that the Jamaicans won't dominate?
I'm trying to say I want to see Sha'Carri and I'm going to call her Shira. Sorry if I'm messing up her name, which it's me. So 99.5% of the time I did fuck up the name. But I want to see them go head to head. Like I really, really do. I know this. Let me put it this way: the Jamaicans won't sweep with Sha'Carri in the race.
It's okay. It's okay. They ain't got to sweep as long as they continue to dominate.
Whatever. Look here. You are now.
I ain't even Jamaican, y'all, and
I know.
already
I was
know.
about to say you are now a Texan and you are now an American. I'm gonna need you to recognize.
I've always been an American. I'm born on an American flag, y'all. I am a natural born citizen. Don't let anything make y'all think different. But
you are from the American Virgin. Oh, my bad. I'm putting all your business
the
out
U.S.
there.
Virgin Islands, not the British one.
Oh, my bad.
But
my bad.
But that's the one thing I can definitely give Jamaica is they know track and field. They got that on lock.
Yeah, and
every once in a while they'll let like one person come in and mess up the formation, but most of the time they just be like, we'll see you next time. Like it ain't nothing to them. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was almost like yesterday. I was watching volleyball. I was at the nail shop and I was watching volleyball, and I was like, oh shit! And the team that I was originally rooting for, it was the Dominican team, and I was like, oh fuck! But they were playing the Americans, and I'm like, shit! So I had to remember the Americans were in red and the Dominicans were in blue, and I was like, if they weren't playing the U.S. team, I would so be cheering for the Dominicans right now. But yeah, so I get it. All right. Moving on. Something we talked about on our last show, and we kind of revisit because this is another story that has just blown the fuck up. The Black Widow lawsuit. So last week we talked about just how Scarlett Johansson was a little upset, and we talked about the calls, the strikeout against Disney for ultimately at the last minute putting Black Widow on Disney Plus or premiered on Disney Plus simultaneously with the theater release. The theater chains were upset about it. She was upset about it. Well, she has now sued Disney and saying that it violated her contract with Marvel because I think I mentioned she was an executive producer on Black Widow as well. And so ultimately it cut into her bottom line. What do you think about the lawsuit? Have you read up on that?
No, you just educated me on it. But I just saw that she was suing and I was like, good for her. No, I mean, she's justified. They cut into how much money she was going to actually make off of this film that was going to be her only title film. So yeah. And I feel like, was they trying to do like a HBO Max kind of thing? Like to see if they could actually get into that kind of where all of a sudden now they want to see if they can really like do that. Like, so is Shang-Chi like the next one?
Yeah, but see, and I get it. On one hand, I'm with her because Disney's response was bullshit, and I'm get to your question because it all kind of ties in. Um, Disney's response was, "You made $20 million." Well, first of all, why are you putting her money out there on in the streets like that? Second of all, if she would have negotiated her contract, she could have made $20 million on the front end, like just for starring in the movie. So usually when you go in as a producer, you're looking to make more on the back end. So you cut into that. And secondly, if that's what you were going to do, then you could have released the movie last year and it definitely would have been a hit when the movie theaters were closed. Because you know how many people would have bought that movie. Because remember what sucky ass Mulan did. And Mulan sucked. So if they would have released it last year, then it would have blown Mulan out of the water. So I get that. And their whole reason for not releasing it last year was what? What did they keep saying? No, this is a movie that has to be seen in the theaters. It's going to be an only theater release. Because everyone had been asking, are you going to release it simultaneously when HBO Max and Warner Brothers, or HBO pissed off Warner Brothers by releasing all of their movies at the same time? They were like, are you going to do the same thing? No. Well, then you charge for Mulan and you make all that money on a sucky movie. So you know this movie would have done extremely well if you would have done that last year. And if it was in violation of her contract, you could have used the excuse that you used in rebuttal to her lawsuit by saying, oh, don't you realize that we're in the middle of a pandemic, so you have to do things like this? So what is it? Like, it's a double standard. And, I feel passionately about it because I already think she got screwed by waiting so late to give her movie. So, yeah, that is my take on it.
You
And
sound very passionate.
I am. And they also did the same thing with Cruella. They released, like you asked about Shang-Chi, they released Cruella the same way. And it didn't do as well as Black Widow, but I think Cruella is now just streaming straight up on Disney Plus, and you don't have to pay the extra money to watch it. But Emma Stone, word is that she's also considering her options because she was also a producer on Cruella. So I'm starting to think, Disney, why y'all screwing over the women like this? Just I'm just saying.
Huh?
Huh?
Is it only female-led movies that they've released
so far?
Oh, okay.
So we'll see what happens with Shang-Chi, and then watch.
Oh, I'm sure they probably learned their lesson on that whole thing.
Yeah, so I was about to say, if they don't do that with Shang-Chi, it's going to be, if the movie theaters are even still open by then, God help us. They're going to say, oh, we learned our lesson from the whole Black Widow fallout, which I think sucks. But she has the support of the theater chains because they were big mad because they were looking forward to getting that money and that revenue from Black Widow being a solid release. And that was one of the things that they were banking on, because that's one of the things that they had promised. Like, no, this is going to be in the movie theater. So we'll see. Speaking of Disney, though, then we got the premiere date for the next show, Hawkeye. Are you excited about Hawkeye? Are you a Hawkeye fan?
I am. I'm definitely excited about Hawkeye. I cannot wait to see Hawkeye.
I think we're two of the only people in the Disney or Marvel fans who actually like Hawkeye as a character. I love Hawkeye.
I didn't like him in the last Avenger movie, but I'm gonna just chalk that up to him being emotionally stunted. But other than that, I like him as a character.
Yeah. I do too. I like the Hawkeye character. I'm with you. I wasn't particularly thrilled about his in the last movie, but especially for what we saw from the Black Widow, I'm interested to see the tie-ins and all that. So we just have to wait a few more months. November 24th is when it's going to premiere on Disney. So maybe Hawkeye might be added to our fall calendar. Hint, hint. Hint, hint, maybe, perhaps.
Oh, is that you saying that you want to add it to the fall calendar?
Sure. Thank you. Oh, Tim, you're so smart. Like, yeah, sure. Why don't we add Hawkeye to the calendar?
Okay.
She's rolling her eyes at me right now.
No, I'm just like you. It won't come out until season 3, but yeah, sure.
That is true. Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. We can. No, I still want to add it. At least we've already got some. Hey, we got season 3.
Yes, we do.
Um. Now I know I've been waiting to hear this one. I am so curious because I remember the last time we had the conversation. I need to get to the point where I can go back and roll tape. I know you were not excited about this, but when we talked about Black Superman, what was your response? Do you remember?
He's not needed.
Yeah, you were like so beyond lukewarm. Like you were ice cold on the idea. Like you were, and I thought you would be excited.
Because it's Michael B. Jordan?
Well, I don't know if Michael B. Jordan is playing Black Superman, but he is.
Well, when we talked about it last time, it was the rumors that were going around that Michael B. Jordan was going to be the Black Superman.
Okay. Well, and then when they actually talked about it, he was like, because it was right around the time where whoever did, it was all about, DC passing on it because Superman's not Black, and then in the show Krypton, they didn't want to make his grandfather Black or whatever. But we are getting a Black Superman. His name is Bal-El. And Michael B. Jordan, there's no word if he's actually playing the role, but he is developing the series for HBO Max. So it's going to be a series. I don't know if it's going to be a limited series or not, but it's in development at HBO Max, being produced by Michael B. Jordan. And again, it's in the early stages, so we will see what happens. But I am very excited to see.
This is the reason why Warner Brothers and the whole DC universe will continue to fail.
Why?
Because it's too much stuff being developed. They do not have a uniform way of approaching the DC universe. Like, you may not want to be compared to Marvel, but the one thing that Marvel does extremely well is they have a uniform application to the Marvel universe. And that is the reason why DC continues to make these movies. They have to recast certain roles, and they do not have anything that sticks. Nothing sticks in the DC universe. And the reason why is because you have the Black Superman movie that is being developed and the script is currently being written. Now you're saying that Michael B. Jordan is supposed to be developing a TV show about the other Black Superman. And then you have the white Superman from the Justice League. And I'm like, what the fuck?
The multiverse.
That's the reason why nothing. But go ahead, continue to make your money every single time, because you're gonna make money because it's DC. People are going to watch it, but that's the reason why they have no foundation, and they continue to not have a foundation because there's nothing to stand on in the DC universe. Nothing to stand on in the DC universe.
Wonder Woman. I'm trying to bring you back to your.
She can't carry the whole thing. She can't carry the whole. She cannot carry the whole thing. For Wonder Woman, they're supposed to be doing a second Aquaman. That was kind of put on the back burner a little bit for a minute. They've been talking about the Flash movie for a long time. Cyborg is dead in the water now. I get Wonder Woman, but she's one person out of the whole Justice League. One person that's been a staple of it. Like, come on, DC. Come on. Well, that's the reason why I'm not excited about this, because it's going to be a one and done. Like, there's no continuation of this. Like, it's a one and done. It's a kind of like, oh, it's a fad now. Like, we're going to do it. And then, like, anyway, let me stop, because it just pisses me off.
I feel your pain, and I heard your passion. Take my passion on Black Widow and have your passion on that. And for more on this conversation, because we did discuss this same thing in one of our extra butter episodes about the DC and Marvel universe. So, I'll probably link that in the post so you can check out that conversation. I agree with you to a certain extent. I agree that Marvel has much better continuity in their universe and in their shows, and connecting them all together to where it's not so chaotic and schizophrenic about how they put it together. Like, Hawkeye is going to tie into somehow, some kind of way. It's going to be an Easter egg in Hawkeye that you have to go all the way back to WandaVision to catch. Like, that in some way they're all going to fit, and then that whatever happens in Hawkeye is going to somehow fit into what Spider-Man comes out in December, right?
Yeah.
So, there's going to be some little Easter egg, some little nugget in Hawkeye that's going to carry over into Spider-Man. So I do, and I think we talked about it in the Loki episode, that I do love the continuity with Marvel. They have that hands down. Like, they have it all planned out. We're in phase 4. Like, people know the phases of the Marvel universe. They know where we're at. We get like a roadmap, and I love that. DC is just like, what? It's like they're using what was the original. They're using like MapQuest from 2005, So I get that. I am excited about the Black Superman just because. But one thing we've always said too is that DC, until recently, they did TV a hell of a lot better than Marvel. Marvel has upped their game on TV, especially with these Disney Plus series and stuff like that. But DC's bread and butter, to me, the thing that they really excelled at has always been the TV aspect, especially with the CW. Some of those shows are getting a little older or long in the tooth now, like The Flash. This should probably be the last season of The Flash. But and Titans is really good too. The new season of Titans is coming out soon, season 3. Are you a Titans fan?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. But yeah, so maybe, but I do understand what you're saying. It's like maybe if they had some continuity. So hopefully, maybe if the series does well, they will carry over the Superman from the series into the movie universe. Again, we have to see what they're going to do with the Crow Man, because he looks like a fucking ripoff of the Crow. That's what I'm calling the Robert Pattinson version of Batman, is the Crow Man. But yeah, so I can't argue with that, except for I am more excited about Black Superman than you are. Oh, and good news. Well, this is a good news, bad news situation for you. Aquaman 2 has started production. The producers of the series says Amber Heard is there to stay.
Okay.
So, and the Flash movie, I think, is coming out. I saw a trailer for it. I forgot where I saw the trailer, but it actually looked pretty good. And Batfleck is going to make a cameo in the Flash, so I'm excited about that because once I saw the other Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, I was all in on the Ben Affleck version of Batman. I actually liked him, and I would love to see a Batfleck movie. I stand alone in that. I take it.
You definitely stand alone in that. Like that ship has sailed.
I
Like,
know.
That ship has sailed. So
I know.
give up on the whole Ben Affleck thing. Like, we got a new Batman. Like, don't get me started again. Don't get me started again.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna have a conversation about the lack of continuity within the DC. Moving on. Next story.
Okay.
Next story.
Okay.
Next story.
Okay. I got you. This is your happy place. Smooth as butter. Criminal undercover. You know where I'm going.
It. But
the shade. Oh my god.
But no. Congratulations. I mean, I like, Army is doing their thing. BTS is doing their thing, and congratulations to them. What is it? 10th week, BTS being at number 1, 9th week for Butter. And they're just continuing. Okay, so I do have something to say along those lines. Well, BTS lines. So I was reading an article, and it made me feel really bad for the members of BTS. Because the guy who wrote the article was talking about how hard life is for them now. And how they will never again be able to truly be themselves and to make mistakes and to just kind of chill back. Like, he talked about how even when you see them like chilling and joking and stuff like that, it's very surface. and it's a little fake. Not to say that they're not genuine people and they're not good people, because they are, but it's a role that they will continuously have to play for the rest of their lives as long as they are BTS. And like reading the article, I was just like, that's so true. Like I feel really bad for them. Like I am so happy for how much they've accomplished, especially in the last year. But this, it's hard.
Yeah,
This has got to be extremely, extremely hard for them. They have to be more reserved in who they are. And even as they are the still joking, loving people that they are, you do see them, their reservation as well. And so I feel bad for that, because they are the face of their country, and everything that they do is a reflection on South Korea, and they are held to such a standard. So while I congratulate them, I also feel bad of the more accomplishments they have and the more celebrity that they gain, the less of themselves they will be able to show to the public.
I agree. I don't disagree with that. I was going to say, especially when you have them being named as the cultural ambassadors to the UN for South Korea. It's like they carry the weight of their country on them. And you do see the reserve, you do see them not wanting to make a mistake or something that's going to come back and go viral in the wrong way, something that's going to cause embarrassment, not just to them, but to Korea. And I found out that Korea actually has a K-pop ambassador, right? Um, who sits in their parliament, because K-pop has become such a global thing and is bringing all this popularity and success, especially financially, to Korea. It's one of the things I think that helped them gain the developed nation status, especially when we could travel, the tourism, and all that kind of stuff. So my thing is this, and I know we know that there's talk about BTS and whether or not they're still trying to find ways to keep them from having to go to the military because BTS. But and I've talked about it before. If you're recognizing how much success it brings to the country, then why are you still making K-pop stars go to the military? That's just my thing, And
You know why?
I know why, but that's
Why?
just a question. It's more of a rhetorical question. So,
No. Getting more like researching more on it, they need a break. They need a break. And the only time they're going to get a break is going to the military. And people may not see it like that, right? They may be like, oh no, because they shouldn't be forced to go, whatever, like that. But I look at it as in, the more that I like watch BTS, I'm just like, the only time that they are going to get a break is if they go to the military. If they don't go to the military, they will never get a break. These people are working nonstop.
they are the hardest working people in show business. I will have to give them that.
And that's not I don't celebrate that. That's not something to celebrate. Like I'm like, I think even more I would want them to go to the military, just because to breathe, to be able to breathe. I would want them to go to the military, because this ain't, it's not as fun as people think. They're like, as fun, like BTS may make it to their fans seem like it's like all fun and they're having the time of their lives. No, they're not, y'all. No, they're not. They love who they are. They love, like, being the artists that they are and everything like that. But anyway, moving on. Congratulations for your 10th week at number one.
That took a dark turn. But I read a different article on in Time. They did an interview with Time magazine, and they were talking about how they're more comfortable with singing English now. And I've said it for a long time, ever since I became truly, truly a big, big BTS fan, that they just need to make an English album. And at first you were hesitant about it. I think you're coming around, or you're realizing that that's going to be more of a possibility. But I'm just going to put it out there and say that it's going to come sooner than later. It wouldn't surprise me if their next full album was an English language album. And that's just based on that conversation and how RM said they're not as strict about language as they used to be. At first, they thought that they had to do it all in Korean but he was like, so we'll see what happens. And also in music, Residency, Usher, after taking a break, and I agree with you, they do need a break. Even through the pandemic, they've been working their asses off. But Usher, after taking a break, he's back and he has a Vegas residency. Are you an Usher fan?
No.
Oh, okay. You said that. So not one Usher song, not even Confessions. These are my confessions.
Well, yeah, but does that make me a fan if I just like the album, but not him necessarily?
No, but that's highly plausible. You can do that. But Confessions was the joint. So we was gonna have to have a conversation if you didn't like Confessions. But anyway, so you wouldn't want to go see the Usher residency in Vegas?
No.
Okay. Well, this really isn't about that anyway, but he does have a residency. So far.
What is it about, Eddie?
I'm getting there. I'm taking the long way. I told you.
Yes!
I told you this is going to be a winding road because of the way the brain is not working today. But so it's a success. He's enjoying it. They say it's good. So that's cool. I'm not sure that I would want to go see it either. But one that we are going to go see is New Edition. You have no choice. I'm just putting that out there.
Absolutely fucking not.
What?
Absolutely fucking not.
No, New Edition?
I've seen New Edition. I am not a fan of New Edition at all.
Oh
I've seen New Edition. I've been to a concert. I've been to a New Edition concert. I have seen them perform. One is enough. Not to say it wasn't a bad performance. It was really good. Like I enjoyed myself going to the New Edition concert, but I'm not a fan, so I don't ever have to see them in concert again.
You are the only one who has said no. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm having a Fred Sanford moment. Oh. And I'm sure that never
Don't
mind.
You dare. Don't you fucking dare. Y'all, Eddie trying to die today, y'all. Eddie is trying to die. Eddie, write your will. Write your will, Eddie.
I have to ask, okay? It's gotten to the point where I have to ask these things.
Oh my God, like Eddie, how closed-minded do you think I
You've never seen Good Times, so how am I supposed to know?
But I know Good Times. I've just never watched it. My mom was a huge, huge fan of Sanford and Sons.
Okay.
Like a huge fan. So I know, and my stepdad as well. So I know Sanford and Sons. Like, throw it out there, but don't then throw it out there and ask me. I probably got to explain this because you probably don't do that.
Okay. So anyway, I was having a Sanford and Sons moment. Moving on. What this all is getting to is that Whitney Houston is going to have a residency in Vegas.
Wait. I'm so sorry, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Because I got to understand this. So wait. So we started off with Usher. And then we went on to New Edition, only to end on the Whitney Houston hologram. That was the winding road that we had, Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all, this may have started off kind of like, but I'm truly entertained now. Truly entertained. Like, go ahead, Eddie. Go ahead.
I told you I got the boring stuff out of the way first. So would you go see Whitney's hologram creepy?
Fuck no.
Okay, we do agree on that one.
What the fuck? She's dead. Like, I'm not gonna see a hologram. It's not even there.
And she's been, deceased for a while. May she rest in heavenly peace. But yeah, and apparently her estate, her family, who's super protective of her legacy, they've signed off on this shit. And apparently this holographic tour has been in Europe for a while. Like I was like, oh, but no, that's just way too creepy. Like I would not. And especially considering tickets for these things are not cheap. Nah, dog, I'm not spending that to go see a creepy holographic version of Whitney perform. That's a little too much. But maybe it might be there the same time as No Edition. You might be able to catch a Bobby. Never mind. I'll stop. Are you an Aaliyah fan? Were you an Aaliyah fan?
Yes, I was.
Her music. It's been a long time. Her music has never really ever been on streaming. That is about to change. The battle between her family, because the person who owned the record company, and I think the rights to her music was her uncle, and then her other family, her estate. They've been in a battle, but I think her uncle is finally going to release her music on streaming. So it just kind of came public yesterday what the holdup was, and then today they said the music is coming, and there's not really much that her state can do to stop it. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah. And finally, speaking about music, it took a long time to get here, but we're gonna do it. DaBaby. I know you heard about that. What started off as him acting an ass at Rolling Loud, saying some really blatant homophobic bullshit, has blown up into this whole big story about how he was dropped from Lollapalooza and he's been dropped from a lot of other festivals. He gave some half-ass apology, and then after he started losing money, he came out with a sincere apology, or a more sincere. What?
Don't put sincere in front of that shit.
I said more sincere. Just drop sincere altogether.
You besta.
Oh shit!
He was
it's
not
deep.
sincere. He was losing money.
You said you bested, yeah. And then, of course, Miley Cyrus wants to be his teacher and savior and says, "Don't cancel him. He needs education, not cancellation."
Shut up, Miley.
I'm of the opinion that you know how I feel. I'm very forgiving, and I don't think that we should be remembered for our worst day or our worst moment. That shouldn't define us, in other words. But DaBaby has just had so many of them. And it goes beyond what happened at Rolling to his also trolling of Megan Thee Stallion at Rolling Loud, tormenting her with the person who fucking shot her on stage at the same festival, to him not issuing a sincere apology. And here's the thing. Lollapalooza basically said he was supposed to release a video apology before Lollapalooza, and they would have let him perform. He did release a video, and the video was fucked up. It was an actual music video to a song, and at the end he had, "I'm sorry that I don't have the same freedom to be who I am that y'all have to be who you are," something to that effect.
Fuck you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eddie.
I'm with you. I have no words for DaBaby, so but Levitating, he's on the remix of Levitating with Dua Lipa. That song was like consistently in the top 10. It's dropped in airplay. And so it's like, did he really just, and I'm with you, did he really just apologize because he went in, like here's how bad it was. Dude, when you got Chris Brown trending for making sense, when you have Chris Brown trending for being right, something is wrong. Like, how fucked up do you have to be when Chris Brown is trending for being the voice of reason?
You right.
And basically he was like, dude, just go on stage, perform your song, say thank you to the crowd, get the fuck off stage and go home. And so, and I think the problem with DaBaby, it goes a bit further into hip hop's culture wars. And hip hop has always had, I can't even say a love-hate relationship with the LGBT community. It's always just been very homophobic and misogynistic. But Boosie Badass also within the same week came out and was trying to go in on Lil Nas X, but Lil Nas takes no prisoners, and he clapped back at that shit.
What did he say? Do you know what he said?
Basically, what did Boosie say? Basically,
no, not Boosie. Lil Nas X.
Basically, they must be the ones gay because they always up on his dick, and they just mad because even after he came out, he still has success, and he's not failing. He's doing nothing but succeeding and all of that.
Oh God, okay, Lil Nas X, sit your ass down.
I'm paraphrasing. He said it.
No, I know, but it's probably very similar. So I know, like you said, like the hip hop world has always had a very what's the SAT word? Cantankerous? How do you say
Yes.
that word? Cantankerous?
Cantankerous.
Oh, look at that. No, not the SAT word, y'all.
Contentious, I think, is the one we're looking for. Contentious.
No, cantankerous is also one.
Okay.
So, relationship, but let's be honest, y'all. Let's be honest. It's the whole Black community. We've always had that, not to say that other communities don't, but seeing as how I am a Black woman, I'm gonna call out my own people. Like, we've had a very argumentative and aggressive response to the LGBTQ community. And then we always throw out like, well, you can be who you are, so why can't I be who I am? Ain't nobody stopping you. I don't understand people who say that you can't say whatever you want. No. You can say whatever you want. But when people clap back, take it. That's what it is. Like, how did you think that you was gonna say all these homophobic things? Boosie was gonna actually like threaten violence against Lil Nas X, and it was gonna be chill. And then you get mad at the fact that people calling you out. And then you just get in justification because your peoples, or people that agree with you and have your mindset of that they don't agree with who Lil Nas X is, or who any of, the Black LGBTQ is, that, they're all just like, well, I agree with him. And I'm like, but did you hear the violence, y'all? Did you hear the violence on him literally saying if he ever saw that, he would go up on stage and snatch Lil Nas X down and beat him up? Like, did you hear the violence, or did we just ignore that part of his statement?
Well, and I want to say I think they ignored it.
No, they did. No, they did, because I actually had conversations with our peoples. Some of them homophobic, and that was it. Like, they did not even, like, it didn't click in their head that he was actually like threatening violence against Lil Nas X. Now, I will say that I've realized I'm a little bit more conservative than I thought I was. And some things are just too explicit for me. I'm gonna just put that out. Some things are just too explicit for me. But you do you, boo. Like, it doesn't like, I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand why you crying that people are calling you out for your homophobia. I don't get it, because you call people out for their racism. Why can't they call you out for your homophobia?
Because one's a choice and one's not. Sarcasm. I just, where people are like,
no, I know that. But and it's true that is what people think. But that just really pissed me off, because like DaBaby, like, out of all the babies, I actually like DaBaby.
Little baby and DaBaby. DaBaby
like,
was
you
the
got
one.
Little Baby and DaBaby. I remember having a whole thing of trying to figure out who was who, and realizing that, oh, it was DaBaby. Like, I like DaBaby. Like, he kind of chill. Now, DaBaby, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and he has a really interesting story, and we talked about that, the backstory, which I'm not going to get into it.
Oh yeah,
but I'm just saying,
I don't want to hear his sob story. I don't want to hear.
Yeah, it's not a sob. It's not a sob story. It's just he had a really interesting backstory, and that's not taking away from it. But here's my thing. So two things. First of all, freedom of speech isn't really free. You can say whatever you want. My mom always told me, you can say whatever you want, but you have to deal with the consequences. When I was younger, even now, I could go and cuss my mom out, but I best damn be willing, ready, and able to deal with those consequences, meaning catch those hands, even as a grown-ass woman. So I don't care how much money you have or who you are, you can say what you want, but you have to be able to deal with the consequences of saying. And when we first talked about it, I told you I would have been better off if he would have just said, you know what, I was drunk, I was high, I said some fucked up shit, my bad, I'm sorry. That would have been fine. But now to come back and say you need education instead of people coming at you, and T.I., you were talking about like-minded people, God, T.I. saying that, oh, the LGBT community is now bullying him meaning DaBaby, because they're clapping back and they're not taking the shit. And, and I'm tired of hearing, oh, this is hip hop. No, this is hip hop 2021. This is not hip hop 2000. This is not hip hop 1990. It comes a reckoning. And the shit that's always been wrong with hip hop you have to have your come to Jesus moment too, and you got to clean this shit up. And just like people can't get away with saying and doing certain things anymore, like Andrew Cuomo can't get away with groping a woman anymore and expecting them to just deal with it, you know. You can't get away with just saying whatever the hell you want and not having to deal with the consequences. People are no longer sweeping that shit up under the rug. They're no longer swallowing it down, and especially when they have a choice of what they want to spend their money on. You were at a festival in Miami, Florida, not at a hood club in Atlanta or somewhere in Houston or whatever. And even then, members of your audience still may have been gay. You don't know that. So that's my problem with that. And then the Breakfast Club, the one person who you thought would have probably been making this point actually was not. The Breakfast Club says, well, what about Eminem? And it was actually Charlemagne the God who came to Eminem's defense. It was DJ Envy. He was like, well, they didn't say anything in Eminem. Bullshit. Eminem caught lots of hell for his homophobic lyrics.
He did.
He made a song with Elton John. He came back. He had his mea culpa. He stopped saying the word. And so it's just like, dude, so I'm sick of when we get caught out for our bullshit. Our community always comes back and says, but what about the white guy?
Because we don't want to hold our own people accountable, because like, well, they got just so much stuff against them. So, this goes back to that whole, when I had my last full rant with that last, horrible dude,
So
and this is the same thing. And here was what I said. Here was my counteract. I said, what about Megan Thee Stallion? And when she performed WAP, or the fact that she got a song out now called Thought. I said, the community, y'all all for that. Like, you got no problem with her performing that song and how she's performing it. But Lil Nas X goes on stage and he's sexual on stage, and y'all want to call him out, and y'all got a big problem with that. Because that again goes back to the fact of how much you care about Black women, because you're not calling her out on how she's performing. If y'all, you got children watching this, okay? You let your kid watch Megan Thee Stallion
until she's on the Grammys or something like that, until it's a catch-22. I understand what you're saying. It's like they choose what they consider to be the lesser of the two evils. Any other time, if it's just her or Cardi performing, then you have a problem with Watt and Thought shit, and I don't. But I get what you're saying. But then when you put it up against Lil Nas X, it's like, well, it's the same thing, except for what? You're mad because he's being sexual with other men? But it's
okay when it's two women.
So yeah. And speaking of, the F word and homophobic slurs, this is the last one. Matt Damon. Did you hear about him? A good old Matt Damon, Boston Matt. That's what I'm just going to start calling him. I guess he thought he's out promoting his movie Stillwater, which is a ripoff of Amanda Knox's life and things that she went through in Italy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there at this moment. He was telling this story, this cute little story about how his daughter, he stopped using the F word about 6 months ago because he told a joke that he told in one of those in that movie. I forgot the movie that he was in.
Stuck on You.
Yeah, Stuck on You. And he told a joke from Stuck on You, and his daughter wrote him a treatise about how the F word was inappropriate to say. A 51-year-old semi-Harvard educated man who works in one of the most liberal industries in the world doesn't realize that it's beyond inappropriate to still use that term. So, he thought it was a cute story. Then when everyone went in on him, he comes back and says, oh, but I don't use it in my personal life, but you use it in casual conversation.
I'm kind of like on the fence about all of that. I'm not gonna. I don't go as hard against Matt Damon as I guess everyone else is over this story. I mean, once again, this is just people revealing stuff that they don't need to talk about.
Ashton and Mila.
I mean, like, I really like. I'm wondering, like, why did you tell this story? But at the same time, I'm just like 51 years old. Yeah, I can understand why he still had that word in his vocabulary. Like, and he's in a very liberal industry, and you still got extremely conservative people that are in that industry. Or you got, because even liberals will use that word. There's still people who are open-minded and still will use derogatory terms like that. May not be necessarily that word, but it'll still use that certain words like that. Like Hollywood is only liberal up to a point.
What
And
do we call Austin liberal?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm to be honest, like I'm just like, I don't consider this story to be as a bigger, and yeah, I don't consider it to be as big as it's putting out to be. I just say, like, Matt Damon, stop telling these fucking stories.
I agree. That was when I first read it before it blew up into this thing. I was like, why would you tell this? Kind of like Liam Neeson almost getting himself when he caught smoke because he said how he casually or how he used the N word, and I'm like, really, Liam? So you just gonna inquire all this hate for nothing? And my thing with Matt Damon though in his story is it just kind of goes back to his problematic history, especially when they had Project Greenlight and how he would treat the Black female writers on that show. That's why I called him Boston Matt. It just kind of it goes back to that moments when you have moments and you remember, yeah, Mark Wahlberg, you have certain things in your history from Boston that are problematic too. So that's what it reminded me of.
You got racist things in your background. Let's put that out there right now.
So I'm with you. That was one of those questions. I'm like, why? It was really unnecessary. And again, you probably thought it was cute, but it wasn't. There are just some things that you should probably keep to yourself.
He wanted a pat on the back. That's what it was. He wanted a pat on the back, and that's why he thought it was a cute story to show, like, how, open-minded his daughter is, and how, he changed his mind because of what his daughter said to him and how she came to him. Because if she hadn't, then he would have continued been telling that joke for the rest of his life and see no problem with it. But his daughter came and changed his mind about that word. I'm like, okay, that's a cute story, not in an interview.
Yeah. I guess we can say you really can't teach old dog new tricks. I don't know, but hey, whatever.
Are you calling Matt Damon a dog?
No, never. Why would I do that? Boston Matt is not a dog.
Oh, fucking hell. You're funny.
All right. Well, I think that just about does it. You have anything else you want to add to this?
JB comes out with his new album on August 26th, y'all.
Yay! The only bright spot in August because summer's almost over.
Well, no, not the only one because TXT is coming out next week as well.
Oh yeah, yay! Okay,
I'm sorry. Like, I'm just like, let me do a little bit of my K-pop, thing that I used to do and don't do anymore. But
I don't know why you took out the K-pops. I liked it. Okay. Well, that does it for this long episode of the ReWine, but that's okay. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at the Popcorn Wind Down. That's it. That's the plug. Pop, pop, pop. Maybe by next anniversary or Christmas, I'll actually get a sound effect. Thank you, Tammy. And as always, thank you all. You got jokes. Thank you all for joining us. And until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.